The sky burned red. Explosions rocked the ground. Smoke filled the air. The surface of Sirax 9 looked like the end of the world. Commander Rayna Cortez knelt behind a broken piece of metal. Blood dripped from her forehead, but she didn't wipe it. Her eyes stayed focused on the horizon. Alien war machine stall, spiked and glowing with blue energy, marched forward in tight formation. The Zorath Empire had surrounded her squad. There was no way out. No backup. No ammo left. Just 15. Human soldiers, most wounded, hiding behind rubble. "Commander," whispered Sergeant Malek, his voice shaky. "Orders." Rayna looked around. Craters, fire, the bodies of her friends. The enemy closing in. She tapped her coms. Static. Earth. Command had gone silent 2 days ago. She took a slow breath. "Hold your positions," she said. "This is where we make our stand." Hours earlier, ... the outpost had been quiet. Rayna's unit was stationed on Sirax 9, a mining planet rich in ore but poor in defenses. The Zorath had launched small raids before quick strikes. Nothing serious. But this time, the attack was different. They came with full-force dropships, walkers, drones, and something else. A new type of war machine. 10 feet tall. Clawed. Hands. Energy cores glowing in their chests. Humans' defenses lasted less than 3 hours. The orbital cannon was the last hope. Rayna had sprinted across open ground with Corporal V to fire it. But the cannon was destroyed before they reached it. V was cut down by plasma fire. That was when Rayna realized the truth. They were never meant to win. "Now, ... double quotes, Commander." "Moving into position," Malek said. "They're going to crush us." Rayna didn't flinch. She stared into the smoke. She could feel death creeping closer. The Zorath war machines paused. Then, slowly, they raised their weapons. That's when the ground began to rumble. At first, she thought it was more enemy tanks, but the noise came from above. A strange hum, low and deep. One of the soldiers pointed up. "Commander, look." Rayna looked to the sky. Through the smoke, something burned its way down from orbit. Not one thing, many. Dozens of black, sharp-edged objects falling fast, dropped ash pods. They hit the ground like thunder. One landed just a few feet from Rayna's position, spraying dirt and fire. The top hissed open. A figure stepped out. It was human, at least. It looked human, but its armor was unlike anything Rayna had ever seen. Jet black, sleek, pulsing, with a blue glow. A heavy rifle sat across its back. Its helmet eyes burned orange like twin suns. It didn't speak. Instead, it walked toward the nearest Zorath machine and tore it in half with its bare hands. More pods landed. More soldiers stepped out. Each one moved with precision. No fear, no hesitation. Rayna's team stared in silence. Sergeant Malek whispered, "Who the hell are they?" Rayna stood up slowly. She had read about them in rumors. Whispers in deep files no one was supposed to access. Project Fury, Earth's final weapon. "They're ours," she said. "And they're pissed." The counterattack the Zorath tried to fight back. Plasma blasts filled the air. But the black-armored soldiers didn't fall. Their armor absorbed hits. Their movements were too fast, too sharp. The sky lit up again as more pods dropped across the battlefield. One slammed into the Zorath command crawler, crushing it flat. Rayna and her team ran. Forward now, following the Fury units into battle. She picked up a fallen enemy weapon. It was heavy, but it would do. The battle turned. Within minutes, the once surrounded humans became the attackers. The alien line broke. Some tried to run. Fury soldiers didn't let them. One of the black-armored warriors stopped next to Rayna. He was tall, at least 6'8". His helmet retracted, revealing a pale, scarred face. No emotion. Rayna stared at him. "You with Earth Command." He nodded once. "Major Kade. Project Fury. Orders. Eliminate enemy forces. Secure human survivors." Rayna blinked. Real Kade didn't reply. He just walked away. Award more screams, more fire. Aftermath by nightfall, the battlefield was silent. The air was thick with smoke. Fires still burned across the hills. Zorath Bodies lay in piles. Their machines sparked and twitched. Rayna stood with Malik, staring at the field. They had survived. No, they had won, thanks to the monsters. Earth had kept in the dark. She turned as Major Kade approached. His armor was scorched, but his movements were calm. What now? She asked. Sirax 9 is secure, Kade said. You'll be debriefed. Transport leaves in 2 hours. Rayna narrowed her eyes. Why now? Why send you now? We were dying out here. Kade's face didn't change. Because now, it's war. He looked to the stars above. Earth's fury is just beginning. Smoke still rose from the battlefield. The sun of Sirax 9 shined weakly through a sky full of ash. The dead lay quiet. Broken alien machines sparked in the dust. But the humans, once hopeless, once surrounded, stood victorious. Commander Rayna. Cortez wiped grime from her face. Her hand shook slightly. The battle was over, but her heart still raced. It wasn't the Zoroth that made her uneasy now. It was the black-armored soldiers that came from the sky. Terror. Fell like fire, they came without warning. 30 pods, black as night, fell from orbit at supersonic speed. The ground cracked where they landed. The noise alone made Zoroth warriors run in fear. From inside each pod came a soldier, but not like any normal human. They moved like machines, thought like computers, killed like monsters. And they didn't speak unless needed. Project Fury. Rayna stood at the edge of a crater, watching the soldiers clean up what was left of the Zoroth. One of the Fury units lifted a two-tone walker with one arm and tossed it aside like scrap. Commander, said Sergeant Malik, walking over. Scouts report, total Zoroth retreat. They're gone, all of them. Rayna nodded but didn't smile. This isn't over, she said. This was just the beginning. Behind her, a figure approached. The same man from the battle, tall, pale, armored Major Kade. Rayna turned. You didn't come to help. Came to test something, didn't you? Kade didn't blink. Came to end the siege. Nothing more. But you knew, Rayna said. You knew we were dying for days. We were given orders. Rayna's voice rose. We're soldiers, not bait. Kade stared at her for a long time, then said, You weren't bait. You were the spark. The debriefed 2 hours later, the remaining human troops were flown to Outpost Delta. A Fury-controlled base built in secret on the far side of SCRX-9. The base was unlike anything Rayna had seen. Steel walls, artificial gravity fields, AI, drones, everywhere. No civilians, no emotion, precision. Rayna, Malik. 2 other survivors sat inside a cold steel room. Kade stood before them. You will be briefed, he said. Then reassigned. Sirax 9 is now under Fury command. Rayna crossed her arms. Fury command? What gives you the right? Kade looked her straight in the eyes. The Zoroth Empire has activated Phase Prime. They are no longer taking territory. They are preparing for extermination. Earth is the target. Rayna's blood turned cold. You're saying they're coming to Earth? Kade nodded. They've already launched their first wave. We intercepted their signals 3 hours ago. But they won't make it to Earth. He turned and tapped a screen. A large image appeared. Earth's orbit. Filled with Fury-class battleships, the ships that weren't supposed to exist, Rayna stared at the screen. Dozens of enormous dark ships floated above Earth like silent giants. Each ship pulsed with blue light. A single blast from one of them could vaporize a city, Malik whispered. I thought we only had 5 active dreadnoughts. Kade answered. We had more. Hidden. Waiting. Rayna narrowed her eyes. Waiting for what? Kade didn't blink. Waiting for the signal to end the war we pretended wasn't happening. Rayna felt a deep chill settle in her bones. She had trained all her life to defend Earth, but now she saw the truth. The real war had never stopped. It had only gone underground, and now it was waking up. They were never meant to return. Manu's team was given new gear. Armor, weapon standard issue to Fury operators. They were told they'd join a forward reconnaissance unit preparing to strike Azoroth. Command planet. Rayna had questions. Too many. That night, she found Kade alone, watching stars from a silent command room. They're scared of you, she said, stepping in. Kade didn't turn. They should be, he said quietly. Rayna walked closer. Don't act like a soldier. You act like a tool someone dropped from orbit and forgot to pick up. Kade finally turned. His eyes were like steel. We were made for a single purpose, he said. To be used in the final stage? The moment humanity is about to fall. Rayna nodded. And now? Kade looked to the stars again. Now it begins. The enemy awakens while Rayna prepared with her team. Earth Command sent word. 3 outer colonies had gone dark. No signals, and no survivors. Zoroth ships were using new cloaking techadectable until too late. Rayna watched the footage. Video of fire raining from the sky, screams. Then static Major Kade gave the new orders. Deploy. We hit them first. He explained the plan. Earth wouldn't wait, they would launch. Operation Breaker Sky. A full orbital assault on Zoroth staging. Worlds. It hummed with silent power. Malak came beside her. This feels wrong. It's war, she said. Nothing about it ever feels right. Drop from the stars or eyes later. The Fury fleet reached the edge of Zorth-controlled space. The command, Ship F's Nemesis, launched hundreds of dropships toward the surface of Varno 4, a key enemy hub. Rayna sat inside the ship, heart pounding. The air was heavy. Kade stood at the front, helmet in hand. He looked at her and said just 5 words. Don't hesitate. No second chances. The doors opened. They dropped. The storm begins. The dropship cut through clouds of anti-air fire. Explosions lit the sky. Rayna held on as the ship shook. Then, with a deafening roar, it crashed down into the center of Azoroth City. The ramp opened. Rayna ran out into chaos. Screams, lasers, blood. But behind her came the Fury. Black armor, orange eyes. And death in every step. They came from beyond orbit. And now Earth was fighting not to survive, but to win. Smoke curled over broken alien buildings. Explosions still echoed in the distance. The sky of Varna 4 was dark with burning clouds. Commander Rayna Cortez stepped out of the ruined bunker. Her new armor scratched and stained, her boots crushed, broken glass beneath them. In her hands, she held a Zoroth plasma rifle, hot and humming. Behind her, bodies lay twisted, both human and alien, but none of them were Fury. Death walked in black. Rayna had seen war. She had fought on desert planets, frozen moons, and lifeless space stations. But nothing had prepared her for what she saw today. Project Fury was not human. They looked human. They bled human. But what lived inside that black armor was something else. Rayna turned and watched as Major Kade crushed Azoroth's skull beneath his boot. No emotion, no hesitation. He turned to her. Secta is clear. Move to the next. Rayna's voice was tight. You just killed 30 aliens in 2 minutes. Alone. Kade said nothing. He just walked forward, eyes locked on the next target. What? Is Project Fury? Later, as the dust settled, Rayna and Sergeant Malak were called to a hidden chamber deep under the Zoroth city. The Fury team had taken over the enemy command post within hours. The walls were lined with glowing alien tech. And in the center stood a data core, one that Kade wanted Rayna to see. It's a genetic archive, he explained. Half Zoroth, half human. Rayna stepped back. What? Why would the Zoroth keep human DNA? Kade looked straight at her. Because we gave it to them. Years ago. What? Project Fury didn't start with just us, Kade said. It started with them. The Zoroth. The terrible Secretrina stood still, her stomach twisting. Kade pulled up a hologram, classified files. Old records. Earth scientists, experiments. Decades ago, during a secret peace effort, Earth gave the Zoroth samples of human DNA. In exchange, Earth received tech, but the Zoroth used it to make new weapons. Living weapons. Hybrids. When Earth found out, it ended the deal. But not before copying the research. Kade's voice was cold. Project Fury was born from that stolen science. We were grown, not raised, modified to think fast, act faster, and fear nothing. Rayna whispered, "So you're not fully human?" Kade didn't answer. The fury within the Fury soldiers didn't eat. They didn't sleep, didn't laugh, rest, or speak unless ordered. They were a perfect machine of destruction. But inside them, deep down, were shadows of humanity. Later, that night, Rayna found Kade sitting alone, helmet off, staring at a piece of broken glass. In the reflection, didn't look like a soldier. He looked like a ghost. Rayna approached slowly. "You were made to kill, but you still bleed. You still think. That means you're more than a weapon." Kade didn't move. "It means I'm dangerous." She sat beside him. "So is every human who's ever fought for something real." Kade looked at her, the glow from the fires flickering in his eyes. Then, quietly, he said, "I don't know if we're the heroes, or the monsters Earth kept in the basement." Alarms. Before dawn, alarms blared across the Fury base. Red lights flashed. Kade stood instantly, already moving toward command. Rayna followed. A Fury tech spoke fast. "We intercepted a signal, broadcast from deep space. It's encrypted with Earth military codes." "From Earth?" Rayna asked. The tech shook his head. "No, it's being sent to Earth from a Zorth-controlled relay station." Rayna's chest tightened. "They've cracked our systems." Kade's jaw clenched. "No, someone gave them access." The Traitor Ant image appeared on screen, showed a Zorth scientist. But not like the others. This one had a human face grafted to his skin. Rayna felt sick. Kade explained. His name was Dr. Selen Volume, geneticist who worked with Earth's biolabs before the war. He defected. He helped create both the Zorth hybrid army and parts of Project Fury. "He helped create you," Rayna whispered. Kade nodded once. "And now he's using Earth's own codes to bring about our destruction." They watched. As Vol's signal jumped systems, it's moving faster than light, its destination, Earth's defense grid. "The clock is ticking," Kade gave the order. "We're leaving now, full strike team. Target. Relay Station 77 Beta." Rayna grabbed her gear. Malik locked and loaded beside her. "Can we stop it?" Malik asked. Kade replied without emotion. "No, but we can kill the man trying to make it worse." The dropship doors closed. Inside, Fury soldiers sat silent, like statues. Rayna looked at Kade. "What happens if we're too late?" Kade didn't even blink. "Then Earth falls." "The war has changed." As the ship launched into orbit, Rayna looked down at the burning city below. She thought about everything she had learned. Earth had made monsters. Zorath had stolen them. And now, the monsters had come home. But something inside Rayna refused to give up. She stared forward, her voice firm. No more secrets. No more lies. If Earth wants to win, it's going to need more than weapons. Kade turned to her. "It's going to need people who still believe in what makes us human." He placed his helmet on. The ship hit full thrust. Next stop, death or salvation. The Fury soldiers dropped silently toward the stars. Black armor gleaming. Rayna clutched her rifle. She didn't know what they'd find, but she knew one thing. Now, Project Fury wasn't just a secret, it was Earth's shadow. And that shadow had finally stepped into the light. The stars looked quiet. But inside the Fury dropship, tension filled the air like static before a storm. Commander Rayna Cortez sat strapped in. Eyes focused, heart pounding. The ship's lights flickered red as they neared their target. Weren't heading into battle, they were flying toward a betrayal. The signal that shouldn't exist. It was earlier. Fury Command had intercepted a signal. It was moving through subspace, encoded with Earth's highest military clearance. But the signal wasn't coming from Earth. It was coming from a remote Zorth relay station in dead space. Worse, the signal was alive, still updating every 30 minutes, feeding Earth's codes and battle positions straight to the enemy. Rayna had asked the question out loud. Who could have sent it? Major Kade's answer chilled her to the bone. someone Earth trusted. The relay their dropship pierced. Through a debris field, the remains of old ships and satellites. Ahead floated Relay Station 77 Beta, half machine, half alien rock. It looked abandoned, dead. But they all knew better, Rayna. Kade, Malik, and 2 Fury soldiers dropped silently onto the platform. As they approached, static buzzed through there. "Comes, we're being watched," Malik muttered, gripping his rifle tighter. Kade spoke without turning. "Let them watch. We're here to shut them down." The monster and the signal inside the relay station walls flickered with blue energy. Old Earth tech fused with Zorath cables. The air was cold and thin. Something about the place felt wrong, like it wasn't meant for humans anymore. They moved quietly through corridors, clearing rooms. Then they found the source, a control room, deep underground. And inside it stood Dr. Selenval. He turned slowly, half his face now replaced with alien metal, glowing veins under his skin. "Welcome, children," he said, voice half human, half machine. "Come to stop your father." Rayna raised her weapon. "You're no father of ours." Volume smiled. "Oh, but I am, especially to him," pointed at Kade. Truth revealed. Vol tapped a console. Screens lit up, files opened. Rayna watched in horror. Video logs, 8 reports. Genetic scans. Project Fury wasn't just created from Earth's experiments. Volume was the one who wrote the original, Fury genome. He had designed every part of them, from their strength to their silence. "You were always mine," Volume whispered, stepping toward Kade. "They used my designs, my research. You are my legacy." Kade didn't move. He stared at the screens. Rayna stepped forward. "You gave Earth's codes to the Zorath. You're the reason colonies are falling." Ball laughed, his eyes glowing. "Earth betrayed me first. I offered them evolution. They chose fear. Now they will suffer extinction, while I build a new race." The hybrid Korin, the center of the room, stood a tall chamber. Inside floated a creature, a hybrid of human and Zorath. Connected to wires, its brain pulsing with light. "The signal comes from that thing," Malik said. Vo nodded proudly. "It is the core, a living transmitter. It speaks both languages. It feels no loyalty, only purpose." Rayna turned to Kade. "We shut it down." Kade raised his weapon, but the hybrid opened its eyes. Ambush suddenly, alarms blared. Drones poured in from the ceilings, Zorath machines fused with human tech. VOL vanished behind a shield wall. Rayna shouted, "Take cover." The room exploded into chaos. Gunfire, plasma, sparks. Malik dragged Rayna behind a console. 1 Fury soldier was down, his armor smoking. Kade moved like lightning, cutting through drones with energy blades. But more kept coming. "We have to destroy the core." Rayna yelled. Kade nodded and leapt forward. Sacrifice. The core began to glow bright. Blue. The signal was reaching critical mass. In minutes, it would send Earth's planetary defense locations to every Zorath ship in the galaxy. Rayna crawled toward a damaged console. "I can overload it." She typed fast, dodging blasts. Sparks flew. Malik was hit chestplate, cracked butt. He stayed standing, holding the line. Kade reached the chamber. VOL screamed from behind his shield. "Don't do this. You're built to survive, not destroy hope." Kade didn't answer. He slammed both fists into the control coils. Electricity surged through his armor. The chamber exploded. Silence. The signal stopped. Drones froze midair, dropped. The glowing hybrid collapsed into ash. Vol's scream echoed, then was gone. Rayna stood slowly. Her ears rang. Malik limped over, bleeding but alive. Kade lay on the floor, smoke rising from his armor. Rayna ran to him. His chest plate was cracked. His eyes were closed. "Kade," she whispered. He opened them weakly. "Is it done?" Rayna nodded. "Stopped it." Kade stared at the ceiling. "I wasn't built to disobey," he said. Rayna smiled. "You weren't built to be human either, but here you are." Not over yet. Later, back aboard the Fury ship, Earth Command confirmed the signal. Had ended. Enemy attacks on Earth colonies slowed, but it wasn't over. They discovered that Vol had transmitted other copies of the hybrid design before the shutdown. The Zorath now had the ability to make their own fury. Rayna sat beside Kade's medical pod. He was alive, but changed. The electric surge had damaged his neural core. Doctors didn't know if he'd ever fully recover. She looked out the window at the stars. "Now they have our monsters," she whispered. Malik entered the room. "What do we do?" Rayna stood. "We show them that even monsters can fight for something real." They thought the war was slowing down. They were wrong. Deep inside a cold, dying moon, something ancient began to stir, something not born from Earth or Zorath, something that waited too long. 1 week later, aboard the Fury ship Eclipse Commander, Rayna Cortez leaned over the glass observation deck, staring out into the dark space between star systems. The victory at Relay Station 77 Beta had slowed the Zorath attacks, but it hadn't ended them. It only gave Earth a few breaths. Behind her, medical techs worked on Major Kade, still recovering from the core overload. His body lived, his mind. No one knew yet. Rayna closed her eyes. The silence felt dangerous. That's when the alarm sounded. The moon's signal fury. Officer Tenka sprinted into the command room. "Commander, we've detected an energy spike on Moon Vorax 3, formerly abandoned, but now, life signs. Dozens, no, hundreds." Rayna frowned. Tenka shook her head. "Worse. Unknown hybrids. Genetic readings don't match anything on record." Elena's heart dropped. She turned to Malik, now walking with a limp, but back on duty. "We're going in. The Forgotten Moon." The Fury dropship descended toward Vorax 3. Cold. Cracked terrain stretched below like frozen bones. No air, no light, just silence. They landed near a jagged mountain that hid a Zorath long abandoned, or so they thought. Rayna stepped out first, followed by Malik and 3 Fury soldiers. As they moved toward the cave entrance, their scanners went wild. "Movement," one soldier said.
"All around us."
Then the cave wall opened, and something stepped out. First contact with the Hive, it had human skin but wrong, too smooth, too pale. Its eyes were solid black, and glowing blue veins crawled beneath the surface. It didn't breathe, didn't blink, and it smiled. Rayna froze, weapons ready. But it didn't attack. It simply spoke in perfect Earth standard. "You're late. We've been waiting." Then dozens more crawled from the rocks. Highborn. The first one pointed at Rayna. "You killed our creator. Now we inherit his dream." Rayna whispered, volume. Battle in the deep without warning. The Hiveborn attacked. They moved faster than Fury soldiers, smarter than drones. They fought like a single organism, predicting every move. Their claws tore through metal. One Fury trooper went down screaming, "Fall back!" Rayna shouted. Malik threw a grenade. It barely slowed them. Rayna and her team rushed into the cave tunnels. The Hive followed, no footsteps, no sound, just pure, silent. "Hunger. We need to collapse the entrance," Malik yelled. Rayna slammed a charge into the wall. Boom. The cave fell in behind them, dust and stone. Quiet, but not safety. The heart of the Hive, they wandered deeper into the tunnels. Strange markings glowed along the walls. Machines half-grown from rock pulsed with life. Then they found it, a vast underground chamber filled with growth, pods, thousands of them. Inside each pod floated a Hiveborn. Sleeping, waiting, Rayna gasped. This is an army." A console blinked to life. A female voice spoke, calm and cold. "Welcome to Hive Prime. The future begins now." A hologram appeared, Dr. Vell's AI copy, smiling as if he were still alive. "You stopped my signal," the AI said, "but not my legacy. The Hive will rise, even if I do not." Rayna clenched her fists. "Not if we burn it first." The moral dilemma. Malik stepped forward. "We blow this place sky high." Rayna hesitated. "They're alive in there, not fully born yet. They're living beings. They're weapons," Malik said, "made to replace us." Rayna looked at the pod's strange, calm faces floating in blue liquid. Some looked human. Others didn't. They didn't choose to be this, she whispered. The Fury soldier beside her shook his head. If they wake, Earth dies. Rayna made her decision. The fight to escape, they planted charges around the chamber. But as they tried to leave, the Hive-born returned, this time in full force. Walls opened. Hidden Hive tunnels released swarms of them. Rayna fired until her rifle overheated. Malik covered her with a plasma shotgun. One Hive-born grabbed Rayna's leg. She stabbed it in the face. "We're not going to make it," shouted suddenly. A familiar voice spoke through their cums. "Hold your ground." Rayna froze. Kade. Kade returns above the moon. The eclipse had received Rayna's distress call. Major Kade Huff-heeled, mind still shaky, had risen from his recovery pod and taken command. He led a Fury strike team in full armor, dropped straight into the Hive tunnels. When Kade hit the ground, it shook. He didn't speak. He just started cutting through Hiveborn like a machine. Rayna watched him move faster, sharper, colder than before. But his eyes burned with something new. Will, not orders, not code, just choice. The Hive falls with Kade leading the charge. They fought their way to the exit. The explosives were set. Rayna gave the final command. Light it up. The cave collapsed. In a burst of fire, the Hive chamber vanished in rubble. Kade stood at the exit, armor smoking. "They're not all gone," he said. Rayna nodded. "But we stopped the awakening. For now." What lurks beyond back aboard the Eclipse? Rayna stared at the scans. Hive signals were still being detected on other moons, other planets, even deep space objects. The Hive wasn't just here. It had spread. Kade stood beside her. "You saw what?" "They are, yes," Rayna said. "And what they could be. They're not finished." Rayna looked at him, voice steady. "Neither are we." Earth was quiet, too quiet. From orbit it looked peaceful: blue oceans, green continents, white clouds slowly drifting. But above the clouds, just beyond the sky, war was coming. The Hive had arrived. A warning from the star's commander, Rayna Cortez. Stood on the bridge of the EFS Eclipse, his eyes locked on the holographic map. Dots blinked red to many. A Fury officer stepped forward. 38 unknown signals detected, moving fast. It just came out of subspace over Earth's orbit. Rayna's heart dropped. "How many are Hive?" "All of them." She turned to Major Kade, who stood silent beside her. "They're here," she said. Kade nodded once. "Then so are we." Humanity on edge on Earth. Alarms rang in every major city. Civilian skies turned red as defense satellites activated. Hundreds of military stations, once thought to be abandoned, powered up again. People looked to the sky end, saw dark shapes appearing through the atmosphere. Some screamed, some prayed, and some, like Rayna and Kade, prepared to fight. The Hive fleet, the Hive ships were like nothing Earth had seen before, not built from metal, but grown, black, bone-like. Hulls wrapped in pulsating veins. Giant red eyes blinked on their surfaces, tracking human satellites. They didn't send warnings. They didn't ask for surrender. They just opened fire. Orbital. Defense Fail Serena watched as 2 Earth space stations exploded, torn apart in seconds by Hive plasma beams. Fire and debris fell into the upper atmosphere. Fury ships responded fast enough to slow the Hive, but not fast enough to stop them. The battle above, Earth, had begun. "Drop zone Earth, Rayner," turned to the comms officer. "Connect me to Earth. Command all channels." The officer nodded. Arne took a deep breath and spoke. "This is Commander Cortez of the F's Eclipse. To all remaining units, stand your ground. The Hive is not unstoppable. We are not broken. We hold the line here because if we fall today, there is no tomorrow." Across Earth, soldiers lifted weapons. Civilians ran for shelters. All defense programs reactivated. Project Fury was deployed to the surface, including Kade. A city under siege. Hive drones landed near New Sydney, a major Earth city. Their ships opened like insect shells, releasing hundreds of warriors clawed, fast, ruthless. But standing in their path were Fury soldiers. Kade dropped first, landing like a thunderbolt in the middle of a city square. He raised his rifle and fired straight into the swarm. Rayna watched from orbit. "He's alone." "No," said Malik beside her. "He's just the first." Dozens of drop pods followed, filling the city with black armored Fury troops. The sky is burning above the earth. Fury warships and Hive cruisers clashed. The EFS Titan was hit's left wing torn off by a Hive beam, spun and exploded, sending fire across the sky. Rayna gritted her teeth. "We hold this orbit," she said. "If they break through, it's over." The Eclipse moved forward, shields up, weapons hot. She targeted the nearest Hive cruiser. Fire. The fall of the capital station, while the Fury fleet pushed forward. One of Earth's biggest orbital stations, Central Command Nexus, took a direct hit. It cracked open like glass. Rayna gasped. "We just lost Earth Command." Malik looked at her. "Who's in charge now?" Rayna didn't blink. "I am." The heart of the Hive ship, meanwhile, on Earth, Kade led a strike team toward a massive Hive ship that had landed in the mountains outside the city. The ship pulsed like it was a lived oars breathing. Floor sticky and organic. Inside, Kade found something worse than weapons. He found a Hive queen, tall, pale, elegant. A twisted mix of human and alien. Her eyes were cold, intelligent and familiar. She spoke. "You are the failed prototype. I am what you should have been." Kade didn't answer. He just raised his blade. Fury versus Queen. The Hive queen moved like lightning. Kade blocked her claws. Barely holding his ground, around them, Fury soldiers battled Hive elites. The queen whispered as they fought. "Your mind was built to obey, but I was born to rule." Kade growled. "I was built to end things like you." Their fight shook the inside of the ship. Rayna, watching from orbit, saw the Hive cruiser light up. "He found her," she said. "We end this now." Death. Victoria or extinction. Kade's blade cut deep. The queen screamed. The entire Hive ship shook. Rayna. "Order to strike. Target that ship. Fire everything." Beams from space tore into the queen's Hive. Kade barely escaped, carried out by Malik and 2 Fury troopers. The Hive ship exploded, sending a shockwave through Earth's upper atmosphere. The aftermath all across Earth, Hive forces went still. Some fled, some died where they stood. Others melted into dust. The queen was the link. Without her, the Hive network collapsed. People in cities wept. Soldiers cheered. Rayna slumped into her chair aboard the Eclipse, heart racing. "We held the line," she whispered. "Earth still stands, but not for long." Kade recovered in a Fury medical unit. His armor was cracked, his body bruised, but he was alive. Rayna visited him. "You saved the planet." He shook his head. "We just bought time." The Hive wasn't the end. Rayna frowned. "What do you mean?" Kade looked at the stars. They weren't acting alone. It was over. The Hive was gone. The precursor architect was dead. The stars were silent, but peace didn't come quickly, because Earth was afraid. Not of the enemy, but of what had saved them. Back to Earth. The EFS Vengeance returned to Earth. Orbit in silence, no parades, no cheering crowds. Just cold transmissions from Earth Command. Stand by for debrief. Maintain distance. Await instructions. Commander Rayna Cortez stared at the message. Her fists were tight. "We saved the planet. And they tell us to wait?" Major Kade stood beside her, armor dim, expression unreadable. "They don't know what we are anymore," he said. Rayna looked at him. "You mean what you are?" Kade didn't reply. The new threat. A week passed. The world began to rebuild. Cities were cleaned. Memorials rose for the lost. Earth was still standing but shaking beneath the surface. In secret meetings, politicians debated, do we shut down Project Fury? Can the monsters we built be trusted? What if they turned on us next? Rayna was called to testify. So was Kade. Their ship was kept in orbit, under armed guard by their own people. Trial by fear inside Earth's Defense Council chamber, Rayna stood at the center. She faced generals, senators, and scared leaders who had never held a rifle, never seen the Hive, A senator asked, "What happens if the Fury soldiers stop obeying?" Rayna replied, "Then you'll have to trust the people inside the armor." Another asked, "Is Major Kade even human anymore?" She stared at them. He bled. For Earth, he saved our home. He stood alone against the Hive Queen. You think it matters if he was born in a lab? The room fell quiet. Then a general stood, Commander Cortez. "Are you saying Earth should trust the monsters it made?" Rayna's voice was firm. "I'm saying they're not monsters. They're ours." Kade's decision, meanwhile, in a secure med chamber, Kade stared into the dark. He wasn't locked in, but he didn't try to leave. Malik entered quietly. "They're afraid of you, you know." Kade nodded. "It should be, but you're not the enemy." Kade didn't answer right away. Then he said, "I don't feel hate anymore. I don't feel orders. I feel tired." "You're not." "Alone?" Malik said. Kade looked up. "That's the part that scares them. The attack that never came." Earth raised its shields. Defense satellites circled the skies. Fleets were on standby, but no one attacked. No Hive, no Zora, no Architect. Just silence for the first time in decades. The galaxy felt empty. No threats, no enemies. No one left to fear. One final mission a month later. Earth's command called Rayna and Kade into a quiet meeting. A diplomat, red-eyed and shaking, handed them a data crystal. "There's a signal," he said. "Ain't deep space, but it has human DNA." Rayna leaned in. "From where?" "A system we've never charted. Past the Helix Void." "Another Hive?" "No, something older. We don't know what it is. But it's calling your name." Kade took the crystal. His hand trembled slightly. "It's not over," he said. Rayna nodded. "Let's find out who's whispering." The goodbye that wasn't before boarding the Vengeance again. Rayna stood on Earth's surface for the first time in months. She walked through a garden in her old neighborhood. The trees were green. The air smelled of rain. A child ran by, laughing. Life had returned. She smiled softly, then turned away, upward. Again, the Vengeance left Earth's orbit once more. No guards this time. No orders. Just a course. Toward the signal. Toward the unknown. Rayna stood on the bridge beside Kade. "Do you think we'll ever stop fighting?" she asked. He looked out the window. "No, but maybe. We'll stop running." Final transmission. In the last scene, Earth receives a final transmission from the Vengeance. Rayna's voice is steady. "We were built to survive, but we chose to protect. We were forged in war, but we reached for peace. If you're hearing this, remember, monsters don't build futures. Humans do. We are Fury, and we're not afraid." The signal ends. Stars fill the screen. The Vengeance disappears into the darkness. The end. The sky over Earth was full of scars. Where once there had been stars, now there were burn marks. Ash drifted in the upper atmosphere. Wreckage floated where orbital stations once stood. The Hive was broken. But the war was not over. The secret. Inside the signal, 2 days after the Great Battle, Rayna Cortez stood inside the deep core server room of the F's Eclipse. Engineers worked in silence. Scientists whispered, nervous. The recovered Hive ship where Kade had fought the Queen had left behind something strange. A shard. Not metal, not bone. Code. A living fragment of data. One of the AI techs turned to Rayna. "Commander, we found something. A hidden command layer." The Hive wasn't acting on its own. Rayna's eyes narrowed. Then who was? The puppet master's Major Kade, now recovered and back in partial armor, stood beside her. His voice was flat. The Hive was grown, but not free. Something older was using them. He tapped the console. A strange pattern appeared. A signal made of geometry. Alien symbols that changed every second. Not Zorath. Not human. "Precursor," Kade said. "Something that came before." And it whispered. "We thought." "The Hive was the enemy," Kade finished. "But they were just tools." Earth's answer. Operation Skybrera. Day later. The remaining Fury Command met in orbit. Rayna stood before the war table. This isn't just about survival now. This is a declaration. She pointed at the stars. The signal came from outside. Our system, location near the edge of the Helix Void in charted space. That's where this ends. The mission was named Operation Skybreaker. They weren't going to wait anymore. They would bring Earth's Fury to the stars, the ship that was never meant to launch from a secret dry dock hidden behind Mars. A new ship emerged, EFS Vengeance, twice. The size of any Earth's battleship, powered by a prototype core, its hull made with alien metals and human engineering. It was black, sharp, silent. It was never meant to exist, but now would lead the charge. The final team, Rayna, Kade, Malik, and 2 elite Fury squads boarded the Vengeance. Each soldier carried new weapons: plasma cutters, grav grenades, rail repeaters, but the biggest weapon wasn't gear, it was Kade. Himself, he had changed after the Queen. Faster, stronger, and something else. Connected Rayn. Watched him train in the zero-G chamber. He moved like a ghost of war. You okay? She asked. He stopped, breathing hard. I hear. Pieces of them. Voices. Echoes. You're linked. He nodded. And I can follow the trail. The path to the void. The Vengeance entered slip space. Its destination. The source of the precursor signal. A rogue planet orbiting a dead sun. No life. No heat. Just silence. As they approached, the stars themselves seemed to shift. Time slowed. Systems lewd. Cleed. Malik stared at the view screen. Kade closed his eyes. It's not a planet. It's a memory. It's a memory. Rayna frowned. Of what? Kade opened his eyes. Of extinction. The arrival, they dropped onto the planet's surface. There was no air. No wind. No gravity until they stepped out of the ship and something turned gravity back on. A city rose before them, ancient, smooth, built from stone that shimmered like glass. Tall spires stretched into the sky like bones, but no doors, no windows, only a pulse. Kade walked forward. The city opened for him. Inside the mind of the precursor, the team entered a circular chamber. In the center was a machina throne, made from light and shadow. Inside it sat a being of energy, barely shaped like anything human. It spoke into their minds, not their ears. You are loud. You are fire. You were meant to burn and fade. Rayna stepped forward. Who are you? I am the pattern, the first architect. I build to test. I test to shape. Your hive was one test. Now failed. Kade stepped up. Used them. Now you want to use us. No, you do not follow patterns. You break them. That makes you dangerous. Rayna raised her weapon. Good. The final battle begins suddenly. The walls of the city shifted. From the ground rose, constructs precursor drones. Shaped like serpents and spiders, glowing with ancient power, they attacked. Rayna shouted, fall back. But Kade stood his ground. He turned to the architect. I'm not part of your design anymore. He slammed his fist into the ground. A wave of energy surged from his body, hive power twisted by human will. Drones shattered, city shook. The architects screamed inside their heads, breaking the sky. Rayna and Malik charged with the Fury squads. Plasma tore through drones. Kade battled constructs larger than tanks, breaking them with raw strength. Above, the Vengeance opened fire on the alien spires. The sky cracked, literally a dome of energy above the city shattered like glass. And through it, the real stars appeared again. The city began to crumble. Rayna shouted, Kade, time to go. But Kade turned to the architect. The being pulsed weakly. You will become worse than me, Kade whispered. Then you should never have made me. He lifted his blade and ended it. Escaped from the edge, the team sprinted back. To the ship, explosions rocked the dead world. The ground cracked, fire pouring from below. The Vengeance lifted just in time, flying hard into slips. Behind them, the architect's world exploded in silence. What comes next? Back in Earth orbit, Rayna stood with Kade. "You killed a god," she said. Kade didn't speak. "You okay?" He looked at Earth, blue and full of life. "I don't hear the Hive anymore. Just silence." "It feels good." Rayna nodded. "Maybe now we get peace." Turned to her. "No, now we get ready."